Elite Dangerous is poised to launch Squadrons version 2, or Vanguards. This is a significant update aimed at overhauling the game's player-run squadron system. Now it's going to be due to be released on August the 19th, bit of a surprise announcement. We thought it would be a little bit later on in the year. And the Vanguards update introduces a new suite of tools and features designed to empower us, the commanders, the player groups, with greater control, identity, and perhaps even influence in the galaxy. Now Frontier Developments has framed this update as a long-awaited revamp, effectively, as I mentioned, Squadrons 2.0. Now that could redefine how us commanders organise and collaborate in this post-Thargoid War era. But are they really gone? Are they really? So as the excitement builds and as the game evolves over time, let's have a little look to see what Vanguards is going to bring us, how it fits into the evolution of Elite Dangerous, and the developer insights from Frontier, and basically what we, the commanders, are looking for. Hello, it's Ricardo and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. So, let's look at Squadrons to Vanguards. What's all this about? Well, the concept of squadrons in Elite Dangerous, essentially the in-game guilds or clans aspect, was first introduced back in late 2018, 7 years ago, as part of the Beyond Chapter 4 update. Now, the initial implementation allowed a single commander to create a squadron, invite members, establish a basic hierarchy with a leader and a few officers, and therefore gave squadrons a formal presence in the game. Took the emphasis away for using the internet and discords, but let's face it, that's still being used now. And that's kind of where I think Squadrons and its new evolution into Vanguards is going to be. It's going to try and take away the onus on other well-established platforms. Now at the time, Frontier described Squadrons as a way for players who wanted to band together and organise themselves in-game for common goals, whether it was fighting Thargoids, pushing back a minor faction's influence, and of course that's never been more prevalent now we have Power Play version 2. So, there's over 20,000 squadrons being formed, and given the fact that we're now going to have new Squadron Carriers, I bet you there's going to be a hell of a lot more. Now, here's the thing. The original Squadron system remained relatively bare bones, and beyond the initial novelty of in-game guilds and the competitive leaderboards, Squadrons really offered very sort of limited functionality. There was only a handful of fixed ranks and minimal in-game management tools. So when they said, hey, Squadrons is going to get a bit of a revamp, everyone went, ooh, banking systems, ooh, nice big squadron fleet carrier. Ooh, tasty. Anyway, long-term players have not been shy about voicing their needs for improvements, especially to FDev on the forums and anywhere where people will listen. For years, the community has called for a robust guild system, and one that could probably support large player organisations, help those new commanders find groups, and provide meaningful group-orientated gameplay. Now, notably, during the early development of fleet carriers, that kind of provided a bit of a thing. That plan changed. Carriers launched as a solo-owned vessel, leaving squadrons without a flagship. Just small groups of friends really sort of banding together, or then people using discords and C-service set the stage for Squadrons version 2. So fast forwarding now to present day, and Vanguards is very much on our doorstep. Some say later than originally planned. I would hazard to say, I don't know. I think it's exactly when it was intended to be delivered. Frontier delayed it from early August, so like mid-August. You kind of got to say that, really. It's kind of mid-August, isn't it, really? This update is only PC. Sorry, console commanders, but that's just the way it is. And let's face it, Elite Dangerous is enjoying this little bit of renaissance, isn't it? Following the end of the Thargoid War and the boost of payer numbers, after the invasion of Sol, etc, etc, etc. We've had new ships, we've had new features to be implemented, and now we've got Squadrons version 2, which is effectively hot on the heels of Power Play version 2. So what are we going to get then? Dedicated squadron fleet carriers. Perhaps the most eye-catching addition is this introduction of a squadron-owned fleet carrier. Massive capital ships that serve as a common mobile base for the entire squadron and are collectively owned, we would think, by the squadron and managed by authorised members. They're reportedly larger than standard carriers, and by all the artwork it certainly looks as much. In practice, this means a squadron on an expedition or involved in a distant conflict can rely on their carrier without needing each member to own one, or several members to own one, and the logistics of getting them all there. Now, Frontier has indicated that multiple squad members will have the ability to initiate carrier jumps, depending on rank permissions, so the burden on moving the carrier doesn't really fall solely to one leader. Additional management roles like setting market by Squadron Carrier is a true shared flagship for your squadron. So that was the main point, but there's also a squadron bank and shared resources. Hand in hand with the carrier comes a squadron bank, a communal treasury and asset hanger for the group. This bank allows squadrons members to deposit, withdraw credits, items and modules, even entire ships for the benefit of the team. How cool is that? The idea is to facilitate richer cooperation. Veteran players can loan a well-fitted ship, or a ship, should we just say, to newer members or squads, and they can pool funds for collective goals. Of course, permissions are key, and squadron leaders can set who is allowed to view the bank, contribute to it, take assets, and even impose, I suppose, withdrawal limits. So the bank's going to be a very interesting part of the gameplay. There's also a very much anticipated overhauled UI and squadron management tools. Vanguards is operating a top to bottom refresh of the in-game squadron interface, and oh my word, it needed it. The squadron menu UI is completely redesigned, clearer navigation, new sections to accommodate added features, and crucially, squadrons can now support up to 15 customizable ranks. So, we'll see if that changes in the future. Anyway, leaders can create rank hierarchy, admirals, officers, whatever fits the group's theme, and assign bespoke permissions to each rank. And then with that is going to come that little bit of granularity, and that I think is going to be really interesting. Then you've also got good old identity and customization, squadron logos and decals. Now you just know there's going to be an arc amount attached to some of these. Either way, Elite Dangerous has always had a rich player group culture. You got to say that. You got famous squadrons like the Fuel Rats, that's what they are. You got the Anti-Xenocorps. You can't take anything away from these people. And power play aligned militias, all that sort of stuff. But now you've got to realise there was no way to display a unique emblem unless it was actually put in game by Frontier. AXI have one, etc. That sort of thing. Now you can create your own. That's really good. And they can be applied as a paint decal on ships. Now there's going to be a decal editor that allows 3 layers, each choosing from a selection of icons and patterns with customizable colours, and you just know more icons are going to be available in store for role play and immersion. This actually is a big step. Doesn't seem like one, but you can design your own logo. That's yours, that is. And, there may be someone who might have something similar, but with all the colours and the 3 layers, well, you can be pretty unfortunate if someone else has got exactly the same logo with yours if you put a little bit of thought and effort into it. There's also enhanced in-game communication. Now, communication within squadrons is getting a boost in structure. Previously, squads had a simple feed where leaders could post one sticky message and system-generated notices would appear. So now there's going to be a squadron feed. There's going to be a squadron bulletin board, individual commander status messages, and the like. The actual communication thing is perhaps one of the things I'm most interested in seeing how that works. There's also squadron perks and progression. One of the most intriguing new mechanics in Vanguards is squadron perks, you see. And the Frontier developments, they've essentially added an RPG-like element where squadrons can choose certain benefits that apply to their members. That's going to be good, no? What do you think? The perks themselves seem to have an economic or gameplay modifiers. For example, one perk they mentioned is increased team rewards. Cool. Increased colonization commodities profit. cool, all that sort of thing. And I think that might add an extra layer. Though I am just wondering, is Squadrons and Vanguards the update we really wanted? I mean, it's great, it's been reworked, and it's probably moving along with the time where we've had power play in the new ships and the like. This is a new layer of gameplay. This is not just a ship that piques people's interests for a couple of days, couple of weeks, so to speak. This is something that's going to continue the game on for years to come, hopefully. But what are we going to get next? We've had power play. We've had an update to engineering, had the galaxy map updated, and now we've had Squadrons. What's next? People are crying out, I want to walk around my ship. People are crying out, I want more on-foot, in-depth gameplay. What's Frontier going to give us next? I wonder. Anyway, Vanguards, 19th of August. Hopefully, unless it's delayed. You never know, do you? Let's see what happens. We already know there's another new ship coming, the Prospector. But new ships does not make gameplay. Things like Vanguards does. Let's see how it goes. I've been Ricardo. Thanks for listening. I'll see you soon.